Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Whoops. I have my picture up already. Hello. Thank you for joining me this evening. My name is Charles, or Chaz, or Yazik, or the DM from Man Shorts. And this is the seventh of hopefully many episodes of Bardadvice, a podcast where I give advice on Dungeons and Dragons and the issues therein. Um, Got this one better than the last one. Yeah, there was the one before this. It was last week. Unfortunately, last week we had a bit of an issue where I just lost the stream completely. I was able to get back and technically finish, and then I just re-released it as a full episode. So, thank you everyone for joining. Hope everyone's doing well in the holiday season. It is Stress City. Not in a terrible way, but it's just holidays. There's lots of stuff to do. And this week in particular has been, we have been busy town at my house. What I had up, what I accidentally, yeah, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas Eve. I can't believe tomorrow's already Christmas Eve. This year in general went by fast, but these last couple of weeks for sure. Why do rogues wear leather armor? Because it's made of hide. You know, tonight my wife and I went to the Jacksonville Zoo Lights extravaganza, which was fun. And that was actually the image that I had up earlier. So I didn't get a chance to get anything together for Art Corner this week. So instead, I just was going to talk about that experience because that was pretty fun. And incidentally, that's actually where I proposed to my wife 8 years ago this weekend. So that was a really fun, cool thing for us to do. And I did put together some images. Thank you for the donation, Ricardo. It's much appreciated. -25 with the wind chill. Yeah, sorry I didn't mention that earlier. Then I just was reminded. Yeah, everybody is cold. I hope everybody's staying warm as best they can because we're fortunate in Florida that it's not so awful. I mean, it's cold for us, but yeah, everybody please stay warm and take care of yourselves and your pets and plants the best you can. So, the zoo. This was pretty neato. So this is just one image. It's not the best. I'm not a very good picture taker, and I think something is wrong with my front side camera on my phone. But at least it gives you kind of an idea of what it is. It's, it is what it sounds like. It's zoo lights. So essentially they just like turn the zoo into like a light festival, which is cool. This one I saved and wanted to show everybody because this is like the Asia section of the zoo, where I guess they have like Komodo dragons and stuff. And that's a cool dragon statue. And also, here's one of me and my beautiful wife in front of there's like a flamingo section of the zoo light thing. So that's pretty cool. So I just thought that was fun. I did get some questions together for this week. I've not been that great about paying attention to what they were through the week just because I've been so gosh dang busy. The night before last, we went to the Nutcracker at the Florida Theater, which was, it was an experience. It was great to go out with the family, but it's 0 where you are, and it's been there 7 hours. -24 in Ontario. Gee whiz. Yikes, McGillicuddy. That is cold. Natural 20s and maximum damage. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, everybody stay warm. Bundle up, for sure. So, let's get into things. It is a little bit of a break for me, actually, because I've just been so busy this week to do this and just kind of kick it and chill and talk D&D. So let's get into it. The first question that we have this evening is from, they didn't actually leave a name or designate what they wanted as a name, so we'll just call them Raven. But Raven asks, this one's fun. Should I let my players be villains? So this seems, it's a bit, my instinct on this question is that it's a bit vague. Although, I would say that my knee-jerk short answer is it depends on what the campaign calls for. But I don't know. You know, the more I think about it, the more it's just like kind of let them do whatever they want to do, and then they have to deal with the consequences as a result. Right? I mean, it depends, I think, on, I don't know, because sometimes people can make it about just that, because I've been that guy. I've been a player that's like, oh yeah, I'm evil, and then like the exercise of the RP becomes all about like how to express that person's evil, or that character's rather. So that can be distracting and a bit annoying. As the DM. Avram says, what's the worst that could happen? They all die. That's true. You know, not to be afraid of TPKs. Like I was saying, like, let them choose what they want to do, and then they deal with the consequences. I mean, I've been in scenarios before where the DM is like, without, you know, in no uncertain terms, made it pretty clear that it's like, look, if you want to do like all the crazy murder hobo stuff and be villainous and be awful, like, go ahead, but also there are consequences to that. And like one way that you could make that a consequence, and didn't I think I brought that was a river question, I think, about loot hoarders. And so one of the things that I had an idea for as something to combat that is to like let them grow a reputation as such, and then it becomes harder for the party to advance or navigate through the world. So you could kind of do the same thing if you didn't want them to. I mean, do you care? Does it matter that much? I guess that it matters when it comes to the campaign and the story and what you're trying to accomplish, but I don't know that it matters that much. I would say yes. I'm amazing. Thank you. What's my favorite character? What do you mean, Zachary? Like, my favorite character I've ever played? That's tough. Studebaker Peppercorn is up there. I don't know. I'd have to think about it more. Running Dragonlance on Sundays. In a second. The entire kingdom is after y'all, calling the guards to shut down the town square. Or calling the guards to the town square. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you want to be a villain, it's like the end of Aladdin, right? When it's like, if you want to be a genie, you got it. And everything that comes with it. It's like that with villains. It's like, if you want to be villainous, that's fine. But you have to be prepared to deal with the consequences of that in the world. Like, if the world calls for, like, if the world is anti-villain, which most are, you're going to have to navigate that. And it's going to probably make things harder. Oh, thank you. I'm glad. I enjoy Beauregard as well. You can definitely make a good evil party work. It's pretty fun. Yeah, it's tough. I've done that too. I've been in those parties. Yeah. I think ultimately it depends on what you're trying to... Let's see. I think that ultimately it depends on what the campaign calls for. It's like when Biff says, make like a tree and head out. Make like a tree and get out of here. Mustang Peppercorn. Hell yeah. Share a common objective. I think we might be a little bumpy on the stream, but that's okay. We press on. I don't think we're going to lose everything like we did the other night. But yeah, I think we got to the bottom of that one. Yeah, I think it's. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with allowing your players to be villains. I think just like let them know they get everything that comes with that. So the next question is from a George, and George asks, I know you have a unique speaking voice and probably have done some sort of voice work. How do I get started doing that sort of thing? People have commented that I sound interesting. I'm kind of nervous about putting myself out there, but a lot of people have commented on it, and I think I should go for it. Any advice on equipment and how to start? First of all, thanks for the compliment. I guess I do have a bit of a unique voice. And you mentioned this, George, in the stuff you sent over. Like, you don't hear it when it's your own voice, because you hear it all the time. That said, I actually have not done really any voice work. I mean, any kind of creative stuff that I've done, sure, but like I've not ever like been contracted to do voice work. Voice work is actually a field that I would like to get into. Excuse me, but part of the issues are that there's only so much time. At least for me. I have a lot of irons and fires creatively. So I only have like so much time for stuff. And if I really wanted to dedicate more time to it, then I guess that I would. But it is a thing that I've always like is an itch I'd like to scratch. And like yourself, I've heard throughout my life that like I have a really good speaking voice, or at least a unique voice. Like I would do well in radio. And I have heard from friends that are in the business, because I do have one friend that does work in voice work. From what I understand, you need to put together a reel. And I guess that like with voice work, or rather with voice acting, it is real acting. And so in that reel, part of what people are looking for are characters. And you could probably just like YouTube this kind of stuff and find people that have made like how-to videos on it, like how to be a voice work artist, like how to get into voice acting. But from what I understand, at least like rudimentarily, like you need to put together a reel of characters, which, showcases your range, not only in voices, but like in acting ability as to like presenting different characters. And like, then you have your reel of like, okay, here's my voice acting reel. From there, to be honest, I really don't know where you go, other than I guess just sending your reel out to people. But that is where I would start. I would just look on YouTube. If I would have had more time this week, I would have put some links together for you myself, but I would just go on YouTube, excuse me, and see if you can find any kind of how-tos about that field, because I'm sure that there are a bunch of them out there. As for equipment, I highly recommend the Shure SM7B. That's what I'm using. It's kind of the podcast standard. It is a little pricey. You could get like a nice Audio Technica for like $100 or $120 on Amazon. But honestly, if it's something that you're looking to do as a career, and something you want to take seriously, I would recommend the Shure SM7B. Michael Jackson's Thriller was recorded on one of these. I mean, not this specific model, but Shure SM7s are crazy good mics. And they are a little pricey. They're about $400. And then you'll also need to get a some sort of a interface that switches from XLR to USB. I've used Scarlett's before. At the moment, I'm using a Behringer. I would recommend the Behringer over the Scarlett, but not that there's anything wrong with the Scarlett. That'll allow you to run your XLR mic into your PC or machine. And then you're also going to need the cloud lifter. That's like another $150. It sounds like a thing that you don't want to just like add on because it makes it more expensive. You really, really need it. When I got it years ago, when I bought this mic and the cloud lifter, I reluctantly bought the cloud lifter because people told me that it was necessary. Essentially, what the cloud lifter does is it raises the volume of the mic without raising the without creating any type of distortion. And so you really do need it, because I have used this mic without it and with it, and you need it. So Shure SM7B, cloud lifter, and then some sort of audio interface that moves from that lets you go XLR to USB, either Scarlett or Behringer. But that's where I would start. And then, like, you know, as far as like the voice stuff goes, like the reels, like just start kind of like messing around. You know where I get a lot of work done is in the car. Because most of the time you're not doing anything but just like waiting on people, especially in the holidays. It's just like a lot of sitting at green lights and stuff. So that would be a perfect time, I would think, for, you know, there's nobody with you. If you get a chance to be in the car alone, like to and from work is a great time because it's just you and traffic. So like if you want to just try out voices while you're driving around, that's where I write most of my raps, is driving around. Why are spellcasters the most unbalanced? Because they can trip. I saw a joke on the pack of gummies that I got at the zoo tonight that said, how do baby sharks get Christmas gifts? Santa jaws. It's pretty good. They're gummy sharks, so it fits. Hey, Mace Man, what's up? Happy Christmas, Merry Holidays, all of the things. Consumerism, family and friends. You realize he's far more famous than me, but Fluffy Iglesias talks about doing voice work on the fly for Disney's cars. Yeah, has Fluffy actually done? He probably has, and if he hasn't, he could if he wanted to. I think that guy just loves comedy, like loves stand-up. He's so good at it. He's a monster, and he just like travels the country and just like lights up stages all over probably the world. That guy, he's one of those guys like Sebastian Maniscalco. Oh no, we had a little breakdown, so hopefully that answers the question. Oh yeah, that's right, he did do Speedy in the new Space Jam. I haven't seen that though. I don't know how I feel about that. I did just download the new 2K the other night. I haven't really gotten a chance to bite into it, but we'll see. Yeah, I had a bit of a glitch. Who knows what's going on in the Gremlins, you know? But thank you for the question, George. Hopefully that puts you in some direction. Okay, so let's move on. We have a question. This next one is from Chris, if you can believe that. I don't know which one it is at this point, honestly. Because we have a question tonight. We have another question from a Chris tonight. So let's just see how this one goes. Okay, so Chris asks, if you have a group that's on the fence about playing, they like the concept, but they aren't interested in learning all the rules, what's the best way to introduce them to the game? Rules light one shot? Yeah, maybe. You know, this answer just occurred to me just now. And I had actually looked at this question before this episode and didn't know how to respond really. But now, I mean, I knew what I was going to say kind of, but this is the answer, dude. Go see the movie. Go see the movie. I think that is going to change everything For any of these people who have like people that are like hesitant about it, and I don't know what it is, I guess because there's probably a level of vulnerability associated with role playing, especially if it's like with strangers, because it's like, what are you talking about? Like, I got to do like a funny voice and pretend to be somebody I'm not, and like it doesn't really make sense. But all of that said, I think that D&D is the most rewarding role-playing game ever made. Just in terms of its customization capability, like the customization capability alone is, I think, unmatched. I don't know of any other, and I'm sure that there are other like RPG systems, like other tabletop systems that offer that. But I just think, like, conceptually speaking, overall for what it is, I think D&D is like the best for that reason. And I think that the movie is going to bring in millions of people, because I think that there are a lot of people who are on the fence about it and are going to see that movie, and they're going to see, and not even just for the whole movie. Like, I don't have my hopes up completely about the film, by the way. Like, I've been let down by D&D properties in the past. But that said, like, I don't even think it's going to be like the movie as a whole. I think it's going to be like little stuff. I think like people are going to see mimics for the first time, and like the slimes and stuff, and it's gonna, people are going to want to play. They're going to be like, "Oh, I didn't realize it was this." Because it's hard to explain. But if you can see it, then that's the move. But yeah, I'd say a rules light one shot would be probably pretty easy. Just like something that you could find either homebrewed online, or like maybe a module. Isn't there like a base module that's like super, like for super beginners? John, thank you very much for the donation. Much appreciated. Florida Man content and others. Yes, any of the super chats are greatly appreciated. Also, I've got my link tree in the description. Sometimes people ask me how they can donate more directly, at least to me musically, but also to the channel. Obviously, the super chats are the most direct way to help us at the channel as a whole. And then me specifically as a musician, rather, well, at least as a rapper. I mean, I guess just in general, in any of the stuff that I do, on my link tree, there are links to my Cash App and my PayPal. And my Venmo is not on there, but I'm Yazik on all of those. So look forward to the Man Shorts videos. Oh, well, thank you very much. You are welcome for the hours of laughter. I'm glad that you enjoyed them. Play a Dungeon Crawl Classic where TPKs are frequent enough there's a pre-inked stamped for character cause of death. That is kind of awesome. Oh, man, I feel like I would thrive in that capacity. Like, if you could just, like, if you knew that you were gonna, that would be so fun. Hey, Mark. Merry Christmas Town. And Happy Christmas Town. I don't know why people think they can't say Merry Christmas. You can say Merry Christmas to me. I don't care. I'll say whatever it is. Like, most of the time you don't know, though. So it's just like, Happy Holiday. Merry Christmas. That's what my friend Justin does. He just goes, rah, 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 rah. Let's see. Walked up, we were playing D&D tonight, just like that. The dice game was now in the bar, and everyone started. Yeah, I think a rules light one shot would be fun, and maybe theme it like we do the videos. So it's like, you know what you're doing. So, you know, you can just kind of like make it, put it on easy mode as far as just like attack and I mean, if you even wanted to make it like a 50-50 shot of them being able to attack or something, but I mean, I don't think you have to dumb it down that much. I think you could just start with like a basic module, or you could do like a thematic thing and make it fun where it's like a Christmas thing, like a holiday, or if it's like for somebody's birthday or something, like theme the one shot around that. That's what I would say. But I think that the movie for sure, if they're on the fence, see if you can get them out and go see the movie, which I don't even know when that's supposed to be. But I guess it's been pushed again. March. Merry Christmas in England means drunk or something, so they say Happy Christmas. Whoa, really? Oh, yeah, they do say Happy Christmas. My wife and I were just watching Doctor Who the other night. We did a spring Santa from Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie Boogie. Oh, that's fun. Supposed to be February, but there were scheduling issues. Yeah, I think it had something to do with another film that was coming out, yeah? Fucking Hollywood production problems. Silly stuff, if you ask me. Usually not artistic choices. Usually money choices. Well, we think that it would be better if we released the film this week. And it's like, whatever, dude. I mean, I'm sure that Wizards doesn't give a shit. They're going to get paid one way or the other. In fact, I think that the rescheduling is going to put them in a better position to make more money. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, thank you, Chris. I hope that gives you something to work with. Yeah, do a one-shot. Just do like an easy, fun, themed one-shot. No pressure. You know, pre-made characters even if you want. And on that note, like maybe if you've got like 3 or 4 or 5 players, like give them like choices between like 10 to 15 like pre-made characters maybe. I mean, it makes for more legwork on your end. But I think not only does it show them that you really want them to play, but also it gives them more choice in keeping the game easy. So you don't have to worry about taking 5 hours to create a character. They're still picking a pre-made one, but they have more choices. They have more options, so they feel like they're more in control. He gave us all these different options. Who knows if I'm... Oh, a claymation episode would be cool. I would love to do animated. Stone throwing devils. Merry Christmas. Create characters faster than new players can. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. It's from Michael. And it is kind of, oh, hey, well, Scott, thanks for joining. Welcome. There's always glitches in the Matrix on this stream. I don't know what the deal is. But this next one's from Michael. Michael asks, I'm a longtime player and DM of many adventures. How do you entice your children that are part of the Internet of Things world to slow down and play a mind game like D&D? Well, you could bribe them. I don't have children, so let's start there. Let's let that be a disclaimer. So far be it from me to give anyone advice on how to raise children. What I will say is, kind of might be the same answer as we just gave Chris. Take them to see the movie and give them different options. You know, maybe you theme it around modern times so it's something that they can relate to more. I don't know. Kids are tough. I have no idea, really, at least when it comes to children. I would say that anybody, a power outage would help, Bella says. Yeah, that's true. It just like take the phones away. Oh no, I don't know if I'm still connected. I guess I'm still connected. I don't think that this is going very well, gang. I seem to just keeps happening over and over. What you could do, if you have Xfinity, it won't be a problem because your internet will just go out. If you have Xfinity, you won't have internet. So if you have another service for your internet, maybe turn it off and then just blame it on an outage. You know? I mean, it depends, I guess, too, on how old your kids are. If they're smart enough to figure out that you're lying about that. But I mean, yeah, you could just like turn the data off and then be like, oh man, I don't know what happened. Man, it sucks. It sure is crazy without the internet. But you know what we used to do before there was the internet is check out this game. It seems maybe a little bit nefarious, but it buffered when he said to take the phones away. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Don't let them realize they're learning things like math. Yeah. Cut the power to the entire house. Whoa. I've done this. Novik says. Cut the power to the house. The children would spend time playing board games and get off their phones for a while. Yeah, man. I mean, I would do that. I don't know how nefarious that is. It's just like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to be without the internet for 4 hours? Play a D&D game. You work at school and they have teen D&D club? Oh, that's dope. That's really cool. I imagine it'd be difficult in the 80s to put one of those together because you'd probably have people picketing about how D&D's evil and such. Can't force someone to play if you want them to like it. It has to be their choice. Goes for anything. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it has to be their choice to play the game. But, if there's no phone, what else are they doing? Also, you could just bribe them. That seems to be the easiest one. Let's just be like, hey, I'll give you $50 if you play D&D. I don't know. Maybe that's crazy. But I think that they really are kind of the same. The answer is kind of the same for both of those questions. I think that you take them to see the movie. And then, set up something that you think that they would enjoy as to some sort of a modern theming. If you can get a group of your friends to play a game while the kids are around and make it seem overly fun, they'll want to get involved. Oh, that's good advice from Scott. Yeah, maybe you do that. Maybe you set it up where it's like you and your group are playing. And it's just super obvious how fun you're having. And that would give all of your players at the table an opportunity to role play IRL. Because it's just all right, tonight, we're really going to sell how fun this game is. First paid DMs, now we have paid players. Yeah, somebody asked earlier in the chat, what my thoughts are on, paid DMs. I mean, what stance is there to really have on that? I mean, it seems like it's a skill that not everybody has. It's certainly a skill that not everybody wants to do. So why not? It's hard enough to keep a group together anyway. So at least if somebody's paid, they have a financial incentive to be there and show up. We need to know the objection to playing and then go from there. Oh, that's a good thing. That's a good question too. They're probably just not interested because they don't see the value in it. So yeah, maybe to Scott's point, show them that it's fun. Either with them or with friends there that they can see. Pay them with meats and cheeses. Yeah, or your kids better than me. What do they respond to? But I do really like the idea of just playing around them and making it seem really fun. Because that seems like that could really work. Yeah. So thanks for the question, Michael. Hopefully that gives you some sort of answer. Let's move on to the next question, because we're now on the other side of the hour. This question is from Dante, and this one seems to be a little bit more advanced, and we'll see. Anyway, Dante asks, as a DM, I'm finding it hard to balance my players' randomness and hold a storyline. I hate the TPK, but it's hard to keep a narrative going when every player thinks they're omnivalent and tends to go wild. At times it's fun, but mostly it feels like I'm just being tested, like they're daring me to be creative and wiping them. Is it better to keep the story going and try to roll/write as they random, or keep what I've written and kick the problem children? I mean, that depends. How many people are causing the issue? Um, is it just like one person? Is it just like a couple? Because I think that it's different if it's the whole party versus just like one or two people. One of the things with D&D, I think, is that especially if you play with friends, um, it's interesting because like playing D&D it is like a friendly activity, but it's kind of like it can sometimes be separate from like a friendship, just in the sense of like what you're willing to put up with, right? So that said, I have not only experienced it myself firsthand, but I've also seen scenarios where like DMs will let players get away with more because they are so friendly. Like on a personal level. Like if I'm really good friend, like I know for sure Ethan lets me get away with more when I'm playing and he's DMing, like just a little bit than he probably should. That said, like your players are probably really aware um, of how much they get away with. I mean, that's probably why they're coaxing you to TPK them. I think maybe you should sit them down individually and try to get to the bottom of what the hell's going on. Because, like, what is their goal? If you feel like they're trying to coax you into coming up with more creative team wipes, then that's probably what's going on. And it's different if it's a whole group of them versus just like, because you mentioned kicking the problem children. So, like, what? Have you got like a table of like 6 or 7 and like 1 or 2 of them are causing an issue? I'd say talk to them individually, split them up so they can't keep their story straight, and just talk to them and be like, what's going on? Like, they are on the situation? Um, because they might be able to provide some really good insight, and they might be more angry than you. I know that I'm certainly the type of person who will like, I'll let a lot build up before I like explode. I'll let things like really get to me before I like and before I vocalize it. And I know that there are a lot of people that are like that. And so like you might not be alone. Talk to the rest of the party. But I mean, I think like, let's see what chat's saying. Make them all dead, roll new characters. Sure you want a DM like that? Maybe they'll be happy with things we're going before. I guess that I'm connected. I couldn't tell you. It's been happening all night because I have Xfinity Internet. And as we know, Xfinity Internet is not really internet. Anyway, it's difficult balance between plot hammering and railroading. Detours are fun. Veering off is bad. Just keep them heading in the right general area, even if they wander off the path. Yeah, but this seems more like an overarching issue over like several years and different campaigns, right? Like they seem to have this propensity to just like, all right, man, like, what do you got for us today? And like, that's not really fun. So I think before you do anything, definitely don't just like roll with it and keep going, because that's going to let them know that it's okay, or at least that it's like that it's encouraged or at least allowed. And so, people like that, they're just going to keep pushing until there's no more resistance. So talk to them and let them know that it's kind of bothering you. This is what I would do. Mentally separate the problem children from the rest of the party. Talk to the rest of the party first, and then talk to the other 2 individually about what's going on, what they want out of this experience, because get the information from the other players before you talk to the problem children, so that not only you have not only do you feel validated in what your feelings are if they also feel that way, but you can also use that as leverage to be like, look, this is not just me that has a problem with it, like Andy over here doesn't like it either, or whatever. So, and Chris says if they're too out of control, just send the Tarrasque at them. Yeah, just send them the Tarrasque. Let them deal with that. I know my GM works hard for us, and I feel a lot less bad when we derail, but you totally instigate. Yeah, and hey, listen, I'm an instigator too. That's like, I'm kind of known for that. I'm a mess. I'm a messy player. However, like the DMs that have DM'd me are aware of that and can actually combat that pretty effectively. But also, I'm the kind of person that if you said that it was bothering you, I would stop. So there's that. It sounds to me like this is an issue that hasn't really been brought up, and that's kind of why you're asking, I guess, to see how you should proceed. So I think do what I said. I think talk to the other players that aren't the issue first, kind of get a feel for where they're at, see if you can get some feedback from them, and then talk to the other players and go from there. When DMs get to play, they play chaotic. Well, I always play chaotic anyway. After my horrible interaction with playing as a paladin and not understanding alignment, and then the 3/5 limitations of having to be lawful good, I've always been CN since then. I just don't see. Well, I mean, obviously not always. I've played like across the spectrum, but like if I don't see why you would be anything but CN. Gives you the most freedom. Yeah. Okay. So, thank you, Dante. Hopefully that gives you somewhat of an answer. I'm just handing out answers this Christmas. Handing out answers and super bad frame rate because of lagging internet. But that's okay, because we're going to keep moving. We're going to press on, gang. The next question is from Chris. Another Chris. A different Chris. A different Chris from the first Chris, but a Chris nonetheless. And Chris asks, role-playing wise, is it better to stick with an accent you are comfortable with or experiment and possibly sound cartoonish? I'd say go for it. I mean, and possibly sound cartoonish. Like, what is that? What is that? So, cartoons are cool. People that are playing D&D like cartoons. Usually, there's pretty good overlap. So the answer is, I would say always experiment. Not always. There is value in like familiarity, what you're used to, gives you more comfort. But I think that there are two reasons that you should experiment with different voices. So I would say that if you experiment with voices, number one, it gives you experience with different voices, stuff you may have never tried before, which, it's kind of like comedy, I guess. Like if you bomb, and then you just kind of got to deal. But if you have a good group, they'll be receptive to it. Nobody's going to like make fun of you, I doubt. But yeah, sure, it might feel silly or embarrassing, but it gives you more experience in doing it, which is just important in general, just to do. But also, there is always the chance that something fantastic comes out of it. So, like, you do a voice that you maybe have not particularly tried before, and you end up liking it than your old reliable voice. I'll tell you, you'll never know if you don't experiment. If you always go old reliable, then that's what it'll always be. That's what is the quote? It's like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. That's Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that there's value in sticking with what's familiar and what you're used to, particularly if you want to do something like really epic and like you want to feel confident in performing it. Then yes, there's value in sticking to what you know. But I think for the most part, across the board, experimentation is like that's gonna, I think, get you to the next level of enjoyment of the game. Oh, there you are. You meant cartoonish trying to sound like Dolph Lundgren, but ending up as Yakov Smirnoff. Yeah. Well, hey, listen, that can happen, but I think that that's part of the fun too. Like, um, God, I've done it in the videos. I've just like horribly butchered like English accents and Australian accents and um, Canadian, French. Uh, I'm not that great at different voices. I have a lot of range and variety within my own voice, but I'm not like, there's really only a handful that I go to. Um, yeah, I think that, I, I, I think it's worth it almost always. I feel that way as the DM, as someone that's like performing it for the people, and also as the player. I want people to go for it. Oh, I just thought of another reason to experiment and like try stuff out is that when you go for it, it encourages other people to go for it. So like, I think they maybe I think that we are all in our own heads a little too much. I certainly am. I know that I worry, not overly, but I think about like what else is going on and what other people are thinking and stuff. But like for the most part, like I put it this way, like I have less road rage these days because several years ago it occurred to me that like I used to think that if somebody cut me off in traffic, that they were just like not a good person because like they obviously had to have seen me and then therefore just ignored me and just cut me off. But that's not what's going on. Sometimes it is. Sometimes people are just rude, but way more often they didn't even see me. So like in terms of sounding like cartoony and sounding off, like the other thing is they don't know. And that's just like a general, like across the board rule for like performers in general, like on stage and stuff. Like they say not to stop, right? Because like, we got another glitch. But you know what I mean? They don't know that that's not what you're going for. So I say like experiment, own it hard, lean into it. And if they question it, it's like, this is what do you mean? Like, this is his voice. This is what I was supposed to, this is what I wanted to do. Don't let them know that you feel a certain type of way about it. Just deliver it. And then just, whatever happens will happen. But I think that you'll be fine experimenting and trying some stuff out. Okay, so certainly had some gremlins. Oh, well, it's because it's Christmas, so that makes sense that the gremlins are in the system. I've got this last question here. Now, I wanted to get some AI art from my friend, some AI art from my friend Bobby about this. He unfortunately did not have time to get to it this week, so what's going to happen is likely I'm going to be showing it next week for Art Corner, more than likely. So, but this last question for this Gremliny Christmassy edition of Bard Advice is from my friend Justin. And so this question is so much so that it is it's extensive, this question. It's 2 slates. So here we go. We're going to try and get through it, and hopefully there won't be any disconnects so we can hear this question, because this is insane. Justin says, imagine, if you will, a golem with mechanical Ouroboros for arms/shoulders, like a metal cat dog, but wrapped around a torso. The cat dog can rotate and move around. In attack, they separate and perform different actions. One end will begin eating the earth/rocks/environment and churn it into energy/fuel/ammunition. It would then fire or attack out of the other side or end. It's kind of gross, but I think it would be so rad to have a golem running around eating stuff, converting it into ammunition, and then barfing it out like a machine gun, like a fused amalgam of steel and magnetism. How would that function in D&D? So I made it. I don't actually think that you need a golem to do this, and I did it with an artificer, with a warforged artificer. So let's see how this goes. So this is, what are all of these different things? I guess that these are all of the, whoa, that's nothing. Sorry about that, gang. Okay, so this is just like his basic stats, but like essentially it works like a, so this thing of which I don't have a picture for yet, but it's essentially, as he described, it's a warforged, and so his arms, rather than being attached to his body, sort of satellite around his torso in like a cat dog fashion. And they can separate and be used. It is kind of like Kirby, now that chat brings it up. I hadn't even considered that, probably because I was trying to figure out how to make it work in D&D. But it is like Kirby. So anyway, here's the thing. I got to put these stats back up. So as you can see there, I've got to expand this. Oh, I can't, I guess. I can't move it while it's on. So essentially, I would homebrew it in such a way that I named him Sorbo. It's actually, his full name is Sorbo Terra 2000. And he was made by a man named Reginald Clunkerjack, and he was originally designed to re-terraform the planet, which is why he's able to do this cool thing with all his attacks. But as you can see, like artificers, this kind of stuff is like, they're kind of made to do this stuff. And the Eldritch Cannon, it really just like falls right into place, right? Like I would say that the thing itself does operate like an Eldritch Cannon, and it would do as such. So you would just like have it to use between, you would have it to use once you have to long rest, right, for the cannon. So you use it, and then everything else I think is just flavor at that point. So like that stuff on those sheets is like the actual meat of the stats, and how all of the abilities work. But everything else beyond that, I think, is like flavor, as far as describing on the DM's part. So like it's just like how it works. I guess it's like a little flair. So that's kind of cool, because like one of the arms just like, they separate, I imagine. One of them lands or smashes into like the ground and just starts like sucking it in, just like sucking in matter, basically. And then as an artificer, with all of the magical tinkering that you're allowed, you can do stuff like create blowgun darts and shoot those. So like even if you were in a scenario like you were indoors, so the way that it works, I think, from just like a mechanical standpoint, to keep it out, I don't know if I'm connected at all, but you shoot everything, you do everything like you normally would as an artificer, but when you're doing your spell casting, it's operating like this. And so if you want to do it that way, my rule would be that putting the one arm into the ground to like initiate like firing would be a move action. And then the actual firing would be the attack action. That would keep it, I think, from being super broken in terms of just being able to like run around and doing it. Like you would have to be stationary. So you would just kind of like into the ground, and then you'd essentially be a turret. But instead you would just be like using, you would be re-terraforming the earth, by the way. You would just be doing it on a really small scale. But I just think that's kind of beautiful, the idea of this just like cat dog arm capability. Anyway, man, this thing really just is bad. I've got to figure out like you know what I think I'm gonna do? Well, we'll talk about that another time. Yeah, I don't know what the problem is. It's really bizarre because, you know, it's not like the internet is cheap, you know? It's not like I'm on like the discount plan. It's not like I'm on like Clearwire. You know what I mean? Like it's a real bill I pay. And the internet is just like, no. Nah, man, we don't care. We just don't care. I'm going to call him after the first of the year and be like, hey, so can I get the internet that works? I guess I ended up on the plan where I'm paying for the internet that works sometimes. I'm going to need to switch. Can I upgrade to the plan where I always have internet? Because that sounds like it would be the most fun. You could tell that it's been a really stressful week for me this holiday. Gee whiz. Why don't you tell your DM that they are running the Curse of Strahd campaign wrong? Because the DM is always white. Oh no, there it goes again. Well, we are approaching an hour anyway, so could it be tied to downloads of YouTube content? I don't know what it's tied to, I'll tell you. But this is gonna be where we wrap things up, gang. And I mean literally, because I still have some gifts to wrap. We are down into the last week, 10 days or so of the year. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end it before it just like forces me to leave. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I hope that you enjoyed yourselves. I hope that you all have a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Be safe. Enjoy your time with your family and loved ones and friends. And that's about it. That's all I got. So yeah, before it drops me and like kicks everybody out, let's just try and say goodbye now. Merry Christmas, everybody. Much love, and we will see you next week. Same Bard time, same Bard channel, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see if I can make some changes between now and then as to helping this improve.